Emma Rodriguez sat on her narrow bed, cradling 6-month-old Lily against her chest. The baby's skin burned with fever, her tiny body trembling despite the warm blanket. Emma's thermometer read 102.5 degrees, and panic clawed at her throat as she watched her daughter's labored breathing. The small studio apartment felt suffocating. Emma had tried everything: cool washcloths, lukewarm baths, infant acetaminophen from the nearly empty bottle she'd been rationing for weeks. Nothing brought down Lily's temperature, and the baby's weak cries had grown more frequent. Emma's phone showed 17 missed calls from her supervisor at the diner where she worked double shifts. She had called in sick when Lily's fever spiked, knowing it would likely cost her the job she desperately needed. But her daughter's health came first, always. The pediatric clinic had closed hours ago, and the emergency room would mean a bill she couldn't afford. Emma's bank account showed $12.37, barely enough for a single dose of children's fever reducer. She had already pawned everything valuable: her grandmother's ring, her laptop, even her winter coat. Emma's parents had died 2 years ago, and Lily's father had disappeared when he learned about the pregnancy. Emma felt more alone than ever. She looked down at Lily's flushed face, her heart breaking as she realized she might not be able to afford the medicine her daughter needed. The weight of single motherhood and poverty pressed down on her. She reached for her phone with shaking hands, scrolling through contacts for anyone who might lend her money for medicine. She stopped at her sister Sophia's contact. Sophia lived 3 states away and struggled financially herself, but she was Emma's only family. Emma began typing frantically, pouring out her desperation in a message she hoped would reach her sister's heart. Chapter 2. The Desperate Message. Emma's fingers trembled as she typed, her vision blurred by tears of exhaustion and fear. Lily's fever hadn't broken, and the baby's breathing seemed more labored with each passing hour. Sophia, I'm so scared. Lily has had a fever of 102 for hours, and I can't get it down. I don't have money for medicine and the clinic is closed. I've tried everything. She's so little and I don't know what to do. I'm a terrible mother. I can't even afford to take care of my own baby. Please, if you have any way to help, I need $15 for fever medicine. I'll pay you back somehow, I promise. I'm so sorry to ask, but I don't have anyone else. I'm terrified something will happen to her. Emma's tears fell onto the phone screen as she typed, her heart breaking with each word. The message was raw, honest, and filled with the desperation of a mother who felt she was failing her child. She added her location and the nearest pharmacy name, hoping Sophia might find a way to help. Without double-checking the recipient, Emma hit send and immediately began pacing the small apartment. Lily, still burning with fever in her arms, she whispered prayers and promises to her daughter, telling her everything would be okay, even though Emma wasn't sure she believed it herself. The apartment felt smaller with each passing minute, and Emma found herself checking her phone obsessively, waiting for Sophia's response. She had no way of knowing that in her panic and exhaustion, she had accidentally sent the most vulnerable message of her life to a complete stranger. Her phone remained silent as the minutes ticked by, each one feeling like an eternity as Lily's condition seemed to worsen. Emma felt the walls closing in around her, the weight of her helplessness threatening to crush what little hope she had left. She looked down at her daughter's flushed face and made a silent promise that somehow, some way, she would find a solution to this crisis, even if it meant swallowing her pride and asking for help from anyone who might listen. Chapter 3. The Wrong Number. David Park sat in his corner office on the 42nd floor of Park Industries, reviewing quarterly reports that would determine the fate of several companies his corporation was considering acquiring. At 35, he had built a tech empire worth $8 billion, transforming from the son of Korean immigrant into one of Silicon Valley's most powerful men. City lights twinkled below his floor-to-ceiling windows as David worked late into the evening, a routine that had defined his life for the past decade. His phone buzzed with what he assumed was another business message, but when he glanced at the screen, he found something entirely unexpected. The message was from an unknown number, and as David read the words, his usual business focus was completely shattered. Here was a desperate plea from a young mother, raw and unfiltered, describing a sick baby and financial desperation that David had never personally experienced. David read the message 3 times, his analytical mind trying to process what he was seeing. This wasn't a business proposal or networking attempt. This was genuine human suffering, accidentally sent to his private number. The vulnerability in every word struck him in a way that quarterly reports never could. He had built his fortune by making calculated decisions, by maintaining emotional distance from personal situations that might cloud his judgment. But something about this message, the fear, the love of a mother for her child, the desperate honesty, penetrated his carefully constructed barrier. David looked around his luxurious office, taking in the expensive artwork, the imported furniture, the symbols of success that surrounded him. $15 for medicine, an amount so small he wouldn't notice it missing from his account, yet apparently insurmountable for this young mother. He found himself thinking about his own mother, who had worked multiple jobs to support him and his sister after his father's death. He remembered nights when she had worried about money for his school supplies, when she had sacrificed her own needs to ensure her children had required. David picked up his phone and began typing a response. Not entirely sure what he was going to say, but knowing he couldn't ignore this accidental glimpse into someone's desperate reality. Chapter 4. The Unexpected Response. Emma had been pacing her apartment for 20 minutes when her phone buzzed. She lunged for it, expecting Sophia's name, but instead found a response from an unknown number. Her heart sank, thinking it might be spam. But as she read the words, her confusion deepened. "I think you sent this message to the wrong person, but I want to help. What pharmacy are you? I can call and pay for your daughter's medicine right now." Emma stared at the screen, reading the message several times to make sure she wasn't hallucinating from exhaustion. A stranger was offering to help her? She quickly scrolled up to check her sent messages and realized with horror that she had somehow sent her desperate plea to the wrong contact. Her face burned with embarrassment as she realized a complete stranger had seen her most vulnerable moment, had read her admission of feeling like a terrible mother, had witnessed her financial desperation. But beneath the shame was a flicker of hope. Someone was offering to help Lily. Emma's hands shook as she typed back, "I'm so sorry. I sent that to you by mistake. I don't know who you are, but my baby is really sick. The pharmacy is Med Plus on Oak Street, but I can't accept money from a stranger. I don't even know how to pay you back." The response came within seconds. "Don't worry about paying me back. What's your daughter's name and your last name? I'm calling the pharmacy now." Emma hesitated, her mind racing. Everything she had been taught about stranger danger warred with her desperation to help Lily. But as she looked down at her daughter's flushed face and felt the heat radiating from her tiny body, maternal instinct overrode caution. "Lily Rodriguez. But sir, I don't understand why you would help us. You don't even know us." Sometimes the right message finds the right person at the right time. "I'm calling the pharmacy now. They'll have children's fever reducer and anything else the pharmacist recommends for a 6-month-old with fever. Go get it." Emma stared at her phone in disbelief, tears streaming down her face as she realized that a stranger's kindness might save her daughter. Chapter 5. The Pharmacy Run. Emma wrapped Lily in her softest blanket and hurried through the evening streets toward Med Plus Pharmacy, her heart pounding with hope and disbelief. The baby felt slightly cooler against her chest, but Emma knew the fever could spike again at any moment. The pharmacy was a 10-minute walk from her apartment, and Emma found herself alternating between jogging and walking, trying to balance speed with Lily's comfort. The stranger's offer seemed too good to be true, and part of her expected to arrive only to discover it had been some kind of cruel joke. When she pushed through the pharmacy doors, the air conditioning provided immediate relief from the humid evening air. Emma approached the counter nervously, still not entirely believing that someone had actually called ahead to help her. "Excuse me," she said to the pharmacist, a kind-looking woman in her 50s. "I'm Emma Rodriguez. Someone called about medicine for my daughter Lily?" The pharmacist's face brightened with recognition. "Oh yes. Mr. Park called about 20 minutes ago. He was very concerned about your baby and wanted to make sure we had everything ready for." Emma's eyes widened. Mr. Park? She still had no idea who had helped her, but the name suggested someone with enough authority and resources to make things happen quickly. "He purchased a complete fever care package," the pharmacist continued, gathering items from behind the counter. "Children's acetaminophen, ibuprofen for alternating doses, a digital thermometer, cooling gel patches, and some electrolyte solution for hydration. He also asked me to include my card in case you have questions about dosing." Emma stared at the collection of items, overwhelmed by the generosity of a complete stranger. The total value had to be at least $60, far more than the $15 she had desperately. "There's no charge for you," the pharmacist added. "Mr. Park took care of everything and left his number in case you need." Emma accepted the bag with trembling hands, still struggling to process that this was really happening. As she walked home with the medicine that could help her daughter, Emma found herself wondering who Mr. Park was and why he had shown such extraordinary kindness. Chapter 6. The Medicine Works. Back in her apartment, Emma immediately gave Lily the appropriate dose of fever reducer, following the pharmacist's detailed instruction. She also applied one of the cooling gel patches to her daughter's forehead and began offering small amounts of electrolyte solution with a dropper. Within an hour, Emma could feel the difference. Lily's skin was noticeably cooler. Her breathing had eased, and for the first time all day, the baby seemed to be resting peacefully. Emma sat beside the bed, watching her daughter's chest rise and fall in a steady rhythm, tears of relief streaming down her face. She picked up her phone and typed a message to the mysterious Mr. Park. "The medicine is working. Lily's fever is coming down and she's sleeping peacefully. I don't have words to thank you. You saved my daughter tonight." The response came quickly. "I'm so glad she's feeling better. How are you holding up? This must have been terrifying for you." Emma was surprised by the personal nature of the question. She had expected a polite acknowledgement, not genuine concern for her well-being. She found herself typing honestly, "I was so scared. I felt like I was failing her as a mother. I couldn't afford the medicine she needed, and I didn't know what else to do." You're not failing her. You're a mother who loves her daughter enough to reach out for help when she needed it. That takes courage. Emma stared at the message, feeling something shift inside her chest. When was the last time someone had offered her encouragement instead of judgment? When had anyone acknowledged how hard she was trying instead of focusing on what she lacked? "Can I ask who you are?" she typed. "I still can't believe a stranger would help us this." There was a longer pause before the response came. "My name is David Park. I run a technology company here in the city. I received your message by accident, but I'm glad I did. Sometimes the universe puts people in our path when we need them most." Emma Googled David Park Technology and gasped when she saw the search results. Articles about a billionaire CEO, photos of a handsome Asian man in expensive suits, headlines about corporate acquisitions and charitable foundations. She had accidentally messaged one of the most powerful men in the city. Chapter 7. The Revelation. Emma stared at her phone screen in disbelief, scrolling through article after article about David Park. Forbes listed him as one of the youngest billionaires in America. Business journals praised his innovative leadership and strategic vision. Charity websites highlighted his foundation's work in education and technology access. The man who had helped her daughter was not just wealthy, he was extraordinarily successful, the kind of person who probably had assistants managing his every communication. Yet he had personally responded to her desperate message and taken immediate action to help a complete stranger. Emma felt a wave of embarrassment wash over as she realized the magnitude of the situation. She had sent her most vulnerable, desperate message to one of the most powerful men in the country. He had seen her admit to feeling like a terrible mother, had witnessed her financial desperation, had read her raw fear about her daughter's health. But beneath the embarrassment was profound gratitude. David Park could have ignored her message, could have had an assistant handle it, could have simply sent money without any personal involvement. Instead, he had responded with genuine concern and immediate action. Emma looked down at Lily, who was sleeping peacefully for the first time all day. The fever had broken completely, and her daughter's breathing was easy and natural. This powerful stranger had literally saved her child's life. She picked up her phone and typed carefully, "Mr. Park, I just realized who you are. I'm so embarrassed that I bothered you with my problems. Thank you for helping us despite how inappropriate my message was." The response came quickly. "Emma, there was nothing inappropriate about a mother asking for help for her sick child. I'm honored that I could help Lily feel better. But you're incredibly important and successful. You must have so many demands on your time. Why did you help us?" David's response made Emma's eyes fill with tears. "Because every child deserves a mother who fights for them the way you fought for Lily. Because kindness doesn't require and because sometimes helping someone else helps us remember what's truly important." Emma realized she was crying again, but these were different tears. Tears of gratitude, relief, and something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Chapter 8. The follow-up. The next morning, Emma woke to find Lily babbling happily in her crib, completely recovered from the previous night's fever. The baby's eyes were bright, her appetite had returned, and she seemed to have no lingering effects from her illness. Emma felt profound relief and gratitude as she prepared Lily's morning bottle. Her phone buzzed with a message from David. "How is Lily feeling this morning?" Emma smiled as she typed back, "She's completely back to normal. It's like last night never happened. Thank you again for everything." "I'm so glad to hear that. I've been thinking about you both since last night. Can I ask you something personal?" Emma hesitated, then typed, "Of course. You mentioned in your original message that you don't have anyone else to turn to. Are you raising Lily completely on your own?" Emma felt her defenses rise slightly, but something about David's previous kindness made her answer honestly, "Yes, it's just us. Her father left when he found out I was pregnant, and my parents died in an accident 2 years ago. I work at a diner, but it's hard to make ends meet with childcare costs and everything else." "That sounds incredibly difficult. You're doing an amazing job under challenging circumstances." Emma found herself opening up in a way she hadn't done in months. "Some days I feel like I'm barely keeping my head above water. Last night was the worst because I couldn't even afford medicine for it. I felt like such a failure." "Emma, you're not a failure. You're a young mother doing everything you can to take care of your daughter. The fact that you reached out for help when she needed it shows how much you love." Emma wiped away tears as she read his words. When was the last time someone had offered her encouragement instead of judgment? "Can I ask you something?" Emma typed. "Why are you being so kind to us? You don't even know us." David's response came after a longer pause. "Because I believe that when we have the ability to help someone, we should. Because your love for Lily reminds me of my mother's love for me. And because sometimes a stranger's kindness can change everything." Chapter 9. An Unexpected Offer. Over the following days, David found himself thinking constantly about Emma and Lily. He had always been focused on business, on growth, on the next acquisition or innovation. But something about Emma's situation had awakened a part of him that had been dormant for years, a desire to make a direct, personal difference in someone's life. He had his assistant research childcare costs, single mother support services, and employment opportunities for young mothers in the city. The statistics were sobering. The challenges Emma faced were shared by thousands of women struggling to raise children alone while working low-wage jobs. David sent Emma a message. "I hope you don't mind me asking, but what are your long-term goals? What would you like to do if circumstances were different?" Emma's response came several hours later. "I used to want to be a nurse. I was in school when I got pregnant with Lily, but I had to drop out when the bills became too much. Now I just focus on taking care of her and trying to keep us afloat. What if circumstances could be different?" David typed back. "I don't understand what you mean." David paused, considering his next words carefully. He was about to make an offer that would surprise even himself. "I'd like to help you finish your nursing degree. My company has a scholarship program for single mothers pursuing healthcare. I think you'd be a perfect..." Emma's phone remained silent for nearly an hour before she responded. "Mr. Park, I can't accept something like you've already done so much for us. This isn't charity, Emma. It's an investment in someone who has already proven she has the dedication and love necessary to care for others. You fought for Lily when she needed you most. I think you'd fight for your patients the same way. But the cost? Nursing school is expensive, and I'd need childcare, and I still have to work to pay rent. The scholarship covers tuition, books, and provides a living stipend. We also have partnerships with childcare centers that offer reduced rates for program participants. You could focus on your studies without worrying about basic survival." Emma stared at her phone, hardly believing what she was reading. A complete stranger was offering to change her entire life trajectory, to give her the opportunity she had thought was lost forever. "Why would you do this for me?" she typed with shaking hands. "Because everyone deserves a chance to build the life they dream of." Chapter 10. The decision. Emma spent 3 sleepless nights considering David's offer. The opportunity seemed too good to be true, a chance to pursue her dreams while providing security for Lily. But accepting such a significant gift from a stranger felt overwhelming, and Emma worried about the obligations that might come with it. She finally called David, her voice shaky with emotion. "I want to accept the scholarship, but I need to know what you expect in return. This is such a huge gift, and I don't understand why you're doing this for someone you barely know." David's response was immediate and sincere. "I don't expect anything in return, Emma. No obligations, no strings attached. I'm doing this because I believe education can transform lives, and because I think you'll use your nursing degree to help other people the way you've been helped. But what if I fail? What if I can't handle the program? Then you'll have tried, and that's more than most people ever get the chance to do. But I don't think you'll fail. I think you'll succeed beyond what you ever imagined possible." Emma felt tears streaming down her face. "David, I don't know how to thank you. This changes everything for Lillian. Seeing you succeed will be thanks enough." 2 weeks later, Emma submitted her application to the nursing program. Her acceptance letter arrived within a month, along with confirmation of her scholarship funding. The reality of her new future was almost too much to process. David had also arranged for Lily to attend a high-quality childcare center near the nursing school, with fees covered by the scholarship program. Emma would be able to focus on her studies without worrying about her daughter's care or their basic survival. On the day before classes started, Emma sent David a photo of herself in scrubs, holding Lily. "Starting tomorrow, thanks to your kindness, I promise I'll make the most of this opportunity." His response made her cry. "You already have. Watching you pursue your dreams is inspiring. Lily is lucky to have such a determined mother." Emma looked around her small apartment, soon to be replaced by student housing near the campus. Everything was about to change because a stranger had seen her desperate message and chosen to respond with extraordinary generosity. Chapter 11. The Transformation. 18 months into her nursing program, Emma had transformed from a struggling single mother into a confident student, excelling in her studies. She maintained a 3.8 GPA while caring for Lily, who was now a happy, healthy toddler thriving in the childcare program David had. Emma's clinical rotations had confirmed her passion for healthcare. She specialized in pediatric nursing, drawn to helping children and families facing medical crises. Her professors praised her compassion, her attention to detail, and her ability to connect with patients in their most vulnerable moments. David had kept in touch throughout Emma's journey, checking on her progress and celebrating her achievements. Their relationship had evolved from stranger benefactor to genuine friendship, built on mutual respect and shared values about helping others. "I have news," Emma texted David after her latest clinical evaluation. "I've been offered a position in the pediatric ICU at Children's Hospital after graduation. They want me to start as soon as I pass my licensing exam." David's response was immediate. "Emma, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you." You've worked so hard for this. I never would have had this opportunity without your help. You changed our entire lives. You changed your own life. I just provided the opportunity. You did all the hard work. Emma looked around her small but comfortable apartment near the campus, watching Lily play with educational toys that the scholarship program had provided. Her daughter was bilingual now, confident and curious, with access to opportunities Emma had never dreamed possible. The young woman who had once felt like a failure as a mother now understood that love sometimes meant accepting help, that strength could be found in vulnerability, and that one person's kindness could create ripple effects that lasted a lifetime. Emma had also started volunteering with a support group for single mothers, sharing her story and helping other women navigate the challenges of raising children alone. She had learned that receiving help gracefully was just as important as giving it. As she prepared for her final semester, Emma reflected on the journey that had brought her here. A desperate message sent to the wrong number had become the foundation for a completely new life. Chapter 12. Full Circle. On graduation day, Emma stood in her cap and gown, holding her nursing degree with tears of joy streaming down her face. Lily, now 2.5 years old, clapped excitedly from the audience, not fully understanding the significance of the moment, but sensing her mother's happiness. David had flown in specifically for Emma's graduation, bringing flowers and a card that read, "To a remarkable woman who proves that with determination and support, anything is possible. Congratulations, Nurse Rodriguez." After the ceremony, they sat together in the campus courtyard while Lily played nearby. Emma looked at the man who had changed her life, still amazed by the journey that had brought them together. "I have something to tell you," Emma said, her voice filled with emotion. "I've been accepted into the nurse practitioner program. I want to specialize in pediatric emergency care." David's face lit up with pride. "Emma, that's wonderful. You'll be an incredible nurse practitioner. I also want to start a foundation," Emma continued, "for single mothers who need help with medical expenses for their children. I want to be the person who responds when someone sends a desperate message, the way you responded to mine." David was quiet for a moment, clearly moved by her words. "What will you call it?" "The Second Chance Foundation, because everyone deserves a second chance at building the life they dream of." David smiled, remembering his own words from years earlier. "I'd like to help fund it, if you'll let me." Emma reached over and squeezed his hand. "I was hoping you'd say that. We make a good team." As they watched Lily chase butterflies in the garden, Emma reflected on the incredible journey that had started with a wrong number. She had learned that miracles often came disguised as ordinary moments, that strangers could become family, and that one act of kindness could transform multiple lives. "David," Emma said softly, "what made you respond to my message that night? You could have ignored it, or had someone else handle it." David considered the question carefully. "I think I was ready to remember what really mattered. Your message reminded me that behind every statistic about poverty or struggle, there's a real person with real love and real dreams. You helped me become a better person." Emma smiled, understanding that their connection had been transformative for both of them. "Thank you for seeing something in me that I couldn't see in myself." As the sun set over the campus, Emma knew that her story was just beginning. She would spend her career helping children and families in crisis, and she would always remember the night when a desperate message to the wrong number had led to the most beautiful miracle of her life.